Hello guys and welcome back to another video of grounding into nature. Today I'm actually in nature and I'm going to talk about breathing today. So I have a lot of history with breathing and everyone does, of course, everybody breathes, but what I mean of course is that I had trouble breathing as well, that I had like hyperventilations and just my daily routine of breathing was out of balance, and it really got me to pay attention to what is wrong with my breathing. So today I'm going to talk a bit about as well the bad sides of breathing that can lead to, for example, panic attacks or like an hyperventilation, but also how to control it and how to actually take control of your state of being, actually. So how you feel right now just by breathing. So let's get started. So let me first explain a bit about how I got into breathwork at the first place. So when I was about 18 or 19 years old, I had a lot of stimulations in my life which really felt to me like I needed to do some things, and I was feeling like there were so many people pulling at me that I was just being overstimulated by all that stress and all that pressure of people around me. So without really feeling in my body what I needed, I started to breathe faster and faster over time without me realizing it. And that really just got up to a point that it felt normal for me to breathe like every 3 or 4 seconds, and yeah, basically that's like 20 breaths per minute. So little did I know that that would only lead to stress in my body without me knowing it. So that's actually how I got started in breathwork, because it ended up in me having some feelings of hyperventilation and actually panic attacks where I felt like, okay, I'm gonna die right now. I have like such a pressure on my chest, and I feel like no matter how much I breathe, I feel like choking. I feel like I'm gonna die. I'm having a heart attack or something. It sounds really extreme, but it was for me. So believe me on this, that I really felt the need to get into breathwork. It was just a need, not something I even voluntarily wanted to do. So yeah. So actually the first thing I did was go to a psychologist and get a hold of what was causing all that stress, of course. But yeah, after a while I got a sense of what created all that stress, but I felt like I needed a coping mechanism, a way to deal with all that stress and get rid of it in a short amount of time. And yeah, at the same time, Wim Hof was also getting more and more popular. So I guess most of you guys know Wim Hof by now, but Wim Hof is known for his world records in cold exposure and dealing with stress, basically. So cold is just one kind of stress, but there's a lot of many ways of stress. So, but anyway, he has a method, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do a workshop of his method. And yeah, so I went to this workshop, and the guy teaching it, he also talked about breathwork and how you can also easily see how can I know if I'm breathing too much or too little. So what this Wim Hof instructor told me, he was like, okay, if you have more than 15 breaths each minute, then that might suggest that you have like a stress reaction in your body, that you just take too much oxygen in your body, almost like you're sporting. When you sport, you tend to breathe as well very fast, but if you breathe that many times in a simple state of being, not doing any exercise, then that's a sign that you might be having some kind of stressive reaction, even though there might not really be something stressful around you right now. So he was like, okay, the more normal breathing would be like 10 to 15 breaths per minute. But if you really want to get in a rest state, he was like, okay, try to get your breathing lower than 10. So it can even be something like 5 breaths per minute or 3 breaths per minute. And I was really like mesmerized, like, how can you breathe 3 times a minute whilst I was doing 20 a minute? I was like, is that even healthy, you know? So I got to a period that I really started to experiment with this. And I really noticed as well during that workshop that I couldn't even breathe through my belly. So I was always breathing throughout my chest, and it was just like I couldn't use my lungs really properly, and I was only using half of it. So that is basically how I started in this process of learning bit by bit how to get my breathing back under control. So it was a period of a couple of years for me, and I wouldn't suggest that is for everyone a process of years, but for me it was just, it took quite some time. So I would just suggest the things I'm going to talk about right now, to implement them just each day, even if it's just 5 minutes, or whenever you think about it. Just make a reminder for yourself when you feel stressful. Like, think about what I was telling you at this moment. So I will talk a bit about how your breath work can affect your brain functionality as well. So basically you have like 3 layers of your brain, which all have a different function of what to do. So the first one is like the reptile brain, or the brainstem, which usually we use for 95% of all our activities, which basically focuses on helping with survival, which really affects the fight or flight response in our body. Also like reproduction and energy saving, and making sure we breathe and our heart rhythm is normal. That's basically the reptile brain. Then we have the second layer. It's the mammal brain, or the limbic system, the limbic brain, which is more about emotions, social behavior with other people around you, and motivation. So really about also making decisions. And then we have lastly the human brain, the newest layer of the brain, I would see it, or also known the neocortex. It's more about intellect, so about thinking and also about reflecting, and the language function and the mind. So I think by choosing to focus on your breath and changing it by using the mind and your intellect, you not only train your reptile brain, but I also think that you even train or condition all those layers of the brain to work together. Just because, like the reptile brain is about breath and heart rhythm. Then you have like the mammal brain is more about making decisions. So you decide to breathe and you decide to focus on your breath, which in turn also makes your human brain, like your mind and your intellect, be influenced by that. But it's because you choose to really focus on your breath, and you learn to notice what is going on when you breathe it different. So it's basically like you intermingle all these 3 brains to work together at that point. So try to keep that in mind, that not only do you train one, but all 3 layers of the brain by just doing a breathing exercise. And what basically happens when we have a stress reaction? We tend to go back to the reptile brain, the easiest part of the brain to keep the functionality going, like the breathing and keeping us alive. So when we have a lot of breaths, like 15 to 20 breaths a minute, we tend to have like the reptile brain in function. But once we get to lower breathing, we get functionality of all the other layers of the brain as well. So keep in mind, when you slow down your breath, you also get more functionality of your brain. So that's maybe why you might also feel like when you're doing a stressful presentation or a school or something, that you really sometimes feel like you're having a blackout and you don't get to think very well anymore. So whenever you would slow down your breathing, you might also get more functionality of the thinking brain back again. I think I like this resemblance. Like in this video, there's on the background like a time lapse going on, and you see like the drops of water on the window coming. And I feel like when you slow down your breath, that moment when the focus disappears from the drops onto the sky feels like whenever you're in a stressful situation and only see the drops, and you calm your breath, you tend to see everything that's behind it. You see the bigger picture actually. So try this out yourself and feel if you see this difference after a while. Just go 5 minutes, maybe even 1 or 2 minutes of breathing exercises, and see the difference and feel the difference as well. And take it day by day and see how you affect your reality. So now I've given you guys some exercises to try out with, and I want to ask you guys the question, how is your breath, and actually are you aware of your own breathing? So think about how you might want to integrate some of these short or long practices each day to train yourselves into a more control of your mind and your energy level, and with the stress that you are dealing with. So I wish you guys a lot of success with these exercises. I would say, like, give yourself a reminder in your agenda or in your phone or whatever you are doing. Try to implement it a little by little. Just make a start, and then each day you might get a better understanding of whatever you're feeling and whatever you're doing. So good luck, and I hope to see you in the next video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. So bye bye guys.